new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day one, or day two, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Pay's checkout is offered by your banks and credit unions. So when you shop online at participating merchants, your cards appear in one place. Pay's. It checks out. Activation required. See pays.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
Hear that? That's now Crispy and McCrispy strips meeting Creamy Caesar sauce. Sounds extra crispy. Caesar sauce at McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The Daily Braw. This is anything but footy at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games.
A silver lining for Amy Hunt, more gold for Filip Nowacki, and Ruby Evans shines in the gymnastics. In Glasgow, I'm Michael.
And in Glasgow, I'm John, and as the fastest men and women in the Commonwealth ran, medals rained in as the heavens opened in Scotstoun.
We've got all the latest news from the Games. Don't forget, you can hear us live every day across the TalkSport network via their website, DAB Digital Radio, on AM, smart speaker, and via the TalkSport app.
This is Anything But Footy with the Daily Braw from the biggest sporting event in the UK this year.
And the wettest sporting event in the UK this year. I think there was a point last night at Scotstoun for the track and field where you and I were, where it resembled Tollcross, where our colleagues Joe Shannon and Molly Renshaw were.
And Georgia Holt, yeah.
It was a very wet one.
Oh, I mean, I think if you're the organisers, you're just hoping that's the worst of the week. And as Kate O'Connor, the Northern Irish heptathlon, said to me, this is ridiculous. I've never known anything like it. I think Elliot Jones as well, the runner, the sprinter in the men's 100 metres, was like, it was just so difficult. But bizarrely, the 10K runners, so David Malarkey, who won a bronze, the Isle of Man's first ever track medal in the Commonwealth Games, and the Australian double for Kai Robinson as well. They said they loved it. They absolutely loved running in those conditions. And it was good fun, I think, was the phrase that both of them used. So, look, it was hard for the high jumpers, I think, in particular. It was hard for the spectators who, one of the stands, they had to walk around the track to get out. Let's hope that the earth has taken in the much needed rain and everything will work as it should later on this morning.
All those people saying, "Oh, I've never known anything like this." They weren't in Manchester at the UK Championships a few years ago, where it was very similar. All I'd say, very quickly and slightly flippantly, if you're the organisers of the games, you're going to be judged ultimately on that kind of end montage that comes up on the telly, the 2-3 minutes at the end to the epic piece of music that brings all the highlights together. You either want in that end montage lots of glorious sunshine and red faces and sweaty backs, or you want some biblical rain bouncing down on your track, giving you all those amazing images. What they don't want is every night just being sort of a bit grey and overcast. So I thought it was good. I mean, there was a moment in the men's 10,000 metres where Sam Cherub of Uganda tripped, lost a shoe. The shoe was just sat there on the track. He did about 14 laps just with one shoe and one sock.
Wow.
And still finished sixth. So, stuff like that I think is absolutely brilliant. It was Australia's day in the 10,000 metres, but of course last night was all about the sprints to find out who the fastest man and who the fastest woman in the Commonwealth are.
Yeah, and absolutely. We'll start with the men's 100 metres. Emmanuel Eseme of Cameroon, first ever gold medal in that event for Cameroon. I think he's been sprinting for about 8 years, and he's in his early 30s, but he broke the national record in the semi-finals in the pouring rain. And it was under 10 seconds. And at that point, you go, okay, the track's quick because he's running, and it was raining very hard. And then he broke the national record again with a games record as well going in the final. And I thought he then I spoke to him afterwards, and he was very eloquent, very talking about what it would mean for young people to see that there were opportunities to do other things in Cameroon, and the importance, again, we keep saying it, of the Commonwealth. And before we talk about Amy Hunt, just a quick mention on Amani Lansiquo as well, because she finished fourth with a season's best in the 100 meters, and she admitted afterwards, yeah, I wanted a medal, but she talked to me a couple of times in the last few days about unity and about these Commonwealth Games are about bringing the world together and talking to each other and talking to different nations and being as one. And I think it is a reminder that there is a lot of bad things going on in the world, but sometimes if you can all pull together and see some different opinions, that there is an opportunity. And I just thought it was a great result in the men's 100 meters, and well said to Amani as well, and hopefully she'll get a medal in the relay in the days to come.
How bright do you have to have that presence of mind to say something like that in that moment at the end of the race when you're full of all the big feelings and the emotions? What I would say about Emmanuel Eseme in that men's 100 meters final was the way he did it, because you watch that race back, 20 meters to the end, he's nowhere near. He is nowhere near. Ajayi of Nigeria, Lachlan Kennedy of Australia, we at that point were hanging the gold and the silver around their necks. And then suddenly, in the last 15 meters, Eseme powered through. And it was an absolutely fantastic piece of running. And as you said, some of the times last night in those conditions, amazing. Moving on to the women's 100 meters, as you say, two English athletes in there. You've talked about Imani. We really, really wanted Amy Hunt to win the gold medal, I think, for Team England. A big sprint gold on the track with one of their high-profile athletes, probably one of the biggest 4 or 5 names at the games as far as the home nations are concerned. But it was silver for the self-proclaimed track goddess and academic badass.
And you talk about Esme coming through in the last 15 minutes. When I spoke to Amy afterwards,
15 meters.
Feet at 15 meters. Yeah, it's not the 10,000 meters. She talked about how at 60 meters, so more than halfway through the race, she knew that she wasn't performing very well. She hadn't started very well, and she said, I needed to rescue myself from this race, because she'd been very open to you and us about I'd come here for a medal, and she wasn't going to win a medal at that moment. And I said to her, well, what do you mean by rescue? And she started to talk again in quite vague terms. And so I pushed her and said, well, are you talking to yourself, or are you changing something in your running? And what she then went on to say is, I went back to what I do every day in training. She said she's obviously a very tall girl, and so the 100 meters, some say it's not her best event. She nearly got a personal best in that final. But what she said is, when you're sprinting with people who can be smaller than you, sometimes you get into their stride pattern. And so what she said is, I remind myself I needed to go back to my stride pattern, bringing my knees up, and she said I rescued that silver medal. And I just thought, again, what you said about Amani, straight after the race, to sit and explain how she rescued that event, showed the level that these athletes are at. They're not just turning up and racing. And I think at one point she quoted the opening paragraph or chapter and verse from Usain Bolt's book about how he does it. So a brilliant performance. I agree. I think she was slightly disappointed it wasn't gold. But as she said, she rescued the silver. It's a stepping stone. She's got the European Championships in a couple of weeks. She's the world indoor. She did say, I need to stop wearing silver jewelry because obviously I am just getting too many silvers now. She's had a world silver and now Commonwealth silver. But she's beginning to build those medals. And I think she said in the Times to Rick Broadbent, who's up here doing brilliant writing, by the way, I didn't want to look back in 30 years at my Wikipedia page and see that I hadn't got a Commonwealth Games medal.
Well, she's absolutely right. Talking medals plenty at the pool at Tollcross. Filip Nowacki, he is the future of British swimming. He told me that he is the future of British swimming. And, he told me that a few days ago, and he backed it up with a gold medal in the pool last night. And a pretty historic one for Matt Richards, because for all the things that Matt Richards has achieved in his career, you were telling me yesterday he'd never won a Commonwealth Games medal, but he picked up a silver.
Yeah, he came to Birmingham 4 years ago and just wasn't in form, and I think fourth was his best. So a really brilliant result in the swimming pool, as you say there. We were both at gymnastics over the last couple of days, but it was brilliant to see Ruby Evans winning the floor gold. I think it's Wales's first gold medal as well as these Commonwealth Games. She's such an interesting character because she loves what she does, and all I think she said the phrase to me and you before. I'm only really happy when I'm on the beam or on the floor or doing the gymnastics. And she delivered a sparkling display in the floor and in a bright yellow leotard, which is not a normal colour you would expect from Wales. She'd been wearing red and greens before, and I just thought her beaming smile afterwards was a sight to behold. So well done to Ruby Evans, and in fact the whole gymnastics delivery over the last 4 days has been brilliant, and there's some big medals there, and we've got a World Gymnastics Championship coming up later on in the year.
And they're off to the Europeans. They're literally off to the Europeans this morning. They're all on flights. They're out of here. I went to see the bowls yesterday. Someone messaged me, said, "You've got to go and see the bowls. It's the curling of the Commonwealths." I saw the English pair of Sian Honour and Amy Farrow win the women's pair for Team England. Sian, remember, carried the flag for England at the opening ceremony. And I saw Sam Tolchart as well, who won the men's singles. 5th games for him. First ever gold medal. He had a silver and a bronze before. He's an electrician by trade. His son ran on and celebrated with him. And really, really nice at the bowls. And then they now kind of reset and go again with some more bowls competition. So if you haven't watched any of the bowls, Sam told me this is the pinnacle for our sport, the Commonwealth Games. So get across it. Everyone was enjoying the bowls, including our own TalkSport colleague Natalie Sawyer.
Now, before you give me the medal table update, a quick look at day 6. Loads of things happening on day 6. Probably a couple of the big highlights, I would say. We're going to see the first lot of Josh Kerr in the men's mile. It's round 1 this morning at Scotstoun. So Josh Kerr, Cam Myers of Australia, who could challenge, but Jake Whiteman's there. There were so many. It's a stacked lineup in the mile. It's round 1, so you get to the final later on in the week. Zarnell Hughes also in action this morning, talking of sprinting stars. And then in the swimming pool tonight, it's the end of the swimming schedule, but it's the men's 200-meter freestyle. And talk about stacked. James Guy, Gabe Shepherd, Duncan Scott, Tom Dean, Matt Richards, Jack McMillan, Northern Ireland, the Team GB Olympic champion, Sam Short of Australia. It is going to be massive. If you're going to watch one swimming race this week, that is the one to watch. It's, of course, the heats this morning and then the men's free final at 7:21 tonight. And the boxing continues. 18 home nation boxers in action today.
Yeah, I think there'll be plenty of home nation medals to come in boxing. But do you remember someone in the know said to us, Australia might win more than double the number of medals here than any other country? Well, on the medal table at the minute, 80 medals in total, 35 golds. Team England, 43 medals, so just over half with 10 golds. So less than 1 in 3. Canada sandwiched in between, 13 golds with 35 medals in total. Host nation Scotland, 7 golds, 15 medals. Nigeria doing well as well, 6 golds, 12 medals in total. So don't forget, you can catch us across the TalkSport network every day. Special Commonwealth Games show tonight from 7 from Glasgow. Thank you. And don't forget as well, you can check out our socials. Just search for Anything But Footy.
This is Anything But Footy at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games